All right, so this is interview number 7 with Professor Ebrima Njie.
Ebrima Njie, yes.
I say professor because there's a running joke among statisticians here that all the stat grad students call each other professor or doctor. Can you tell me how that started? Or
uh,
is it just something Kazi did one day?
Kazi was the one who started that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I could
you call
tell.
it, yeah. So,
Because he's the one that started calling me doctor all
doctor,
the time.
exactly, yeah.
And I was like, not if my analysis instructor has anything to say about it.
Yeah,
I won't be.
that's right.
But it's fun calling each other doctor from time to time because it
Yeah,
kind of gives you a little bit of a confidence boost,
exactly.
right?
That's right.
It's
That's
like,
right.
don't worry, it's
No,
gonna happen.
yeah,
Hopefully,
yeah. One day.
nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah.
But you are a graduate student in statistics. You came in at the same time that pretty much all of us did. There
Yeah,
was a
because
lot
I
of us that
came
came
in
in at
fall
fall.
21.
Fall 21 was a big acceptance.
Yeah,
What do you want to say? There was a bunch of grad students that all came in at the same time.
that's right. Yeah.
So me and you were in that group.
Mm-hmm.
Did you come in with a master's degree?
No, I didn't come with master's degree. I came with a bachelor's,
Bachelor's?
and my bachelor's was in pure math.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. So you have a pure math background.
Yeah, I have a pure math background.
But you were asking me
It's
about topology the other day. You should know this.
Yeah, I know it, but like when I was doing the course, it gave me a lot of hard time.
Okay.
So I never liked it. So
Okay.
that's why I don't want to do it anymore again.
So you switched gears and now you're like, okay, let's do applied math. For
Yeah, I was like, let's do applied math because I feel like doing pure maths or applied maths, you have to still work hard for any of these two. They are not something that is easy.
Yeah.
But I feel like, okay, since my target after graduation is to have the opportunity to, several jobs, not just having an opportunity to just teach.
Yeah.
So I decide to end up in apply math because I feel that with pure math, though you can still have some opportunities in industries and other companies,
Yeah.
but it's very limited compared to that of the applied mathematics.
So
So
the rest
this,
of applied isn't there. It's statistics is kind of the one that people want to hire.
yes, statistics and also numerical analysis also.
Can you tell me like what it is about? Because I've taken look, I get statistics. I get why it's in high demand, but what is it about numerical analysis that makes it so attractive to employers?
Yeah, numerical analysis is also it also deals with data.
Okay.
So you can do some sort of they have different methods. Like for us statisticians, if you're working with data, we could encounter some difficulties. Like if, for instance, if I am trying to fit some model to my data,
Yeah.
I could run into and some of the issues like non-convergence. My model is not going to converge. So in that such instances, you may have to use some numerical methods to
Okay.
make the data work. So I think that's one of the reasons why
Do you have like a really basic example of where numerical analysis is used? Because I know a few people in the department that are working with a certain professor here who's in numerical analysis. One of them, she just defended her PhD last semester, like December of last year. And then the guy down the hall, I know he does image deblurring. So how does he use numerical analysis to basically deblur an image?
Yeah.
Which I know is a very difficult
It
question
is
to
a
answer.
difficult, yeah,
That's
because
difficult. So give
I'm
me
not
like
also
the Cliff Notes
so
version.
much into numerical, I would say.
Okay.
I'm much into statistics.
Okay. So we'll stick
But
more
what I
with
know
stats.
is like they use it like currently one of the professors in the department is working on a project where he has to do some neural networks. So he works with some of these matrices,
Okay.
so different dimensions, and then see which one of them works best for his model. Things
Okay.
like this, yeah. Because I talked to the professor in the past, so he was telling me about the projects he was doing. Yeah. So, but I don't know much about numerical research, and then
You took the sequence here, though, right?
yes, I took the sequence actually. I'm
Okay.
also currently doing the nonlinear systems, which is taught by one of the numerical professors here.
Okay. Is it the same guy that I'm thinking of?
Yeah,
Oh, it's the same guy?
It's the
Okay.
same guy. Yeah.
All right. So, what made you lean more into statistics as opposed to the other applied math? Was it just for the employment opportunities, or was it a love for the subject, or a mixture of the two?
Yeah, because like the reason why I choose statistics, my initial goal is to do data analysis.
Okay.
So since I don't have the opportunity to do data analysis, because when I was applying to here, the two courses that are available is applied math or pure math.
Yeah.
So when I applied for the applied math, when I came, I realized that the only opportunity we have within applied math, the subfields we have, is either computational mathematics, numerical, or statistics. There is nothing like data science.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and the only one that is pretty much close to data science is statistics, because, like I could say, most of the statisticians are also data scientists,
Okay.
because they work with data and then do some model fittings and then do some comparison and analysis.
I see.
Yeah.
So, this seems like applied math. Like, I think of mathematics as being on a continuum, where on one end of the continuum you have pure math, and at the other end you have strictly applied.
Applied, yeah.
So it sounds to me like this data science and statistics, the stuff that you guys are doing, is the most applied version of math that you can get.
Exactly. It's the most applied version.
Do you do a lot of proofwriting in applied math? Because I know it shows up, but like how much of it is that versus just collecting data, modeling it, and then drawing conclusions?
The only reason why we do some of the proofs is like they don't want you to entirely rely on the software to do everything for you.
Yeah.
But you also want to know what is going behind the background,
what's going on underneath,
so that if you run into an issue, you could easily figure out, okay, this is probably what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the most important aspect of it is to be able to write codes and then implement the whatever model ideas you have in programming.
Yeah.
Actually, it's programming basis. But more, I think here in this case, the professors, they use R, programming language. Most of the courses that I did is R that they rely on. But also, you could use Python or MATLAB in few occasions.
Few occasions.
Yeah, but like the courses we are doing in numerical, those people, they also rely on MATLAB. They don't use R or Python. Although the lecturers, they give us some flexibility that if you feel that you are not comfortable to write code in MATLAB, you can write it in either Python or R.
Okay.
Yeah, because obviously at the end of the day, the results exactly should match. It doesn't matter which of the programming language you use.
I see. I noticed that you guys never really mentioned C, C++, or anything like that. How come?
Yeah, I would say because those ones are pure programming language. I would say because like for R, it's built on that one. Most of the programs, if they are slow, actually, you write them, most of the packages, I would say, you write them in C++. So because those are the programs that run very fast compared to others that are not written in C++. But I would say that one is used more by the computer scientist than us, because most of the cases what we do actually does not involve that much heavy computations where you have to go into C++. Yeah. And it's very difficult to even work on C++, more especially if you don't have a programming background.
Did you have any computer science background or programming in general? Because this is something that pure math people don't really do. At least in my experiences, we haven't really done much programming.
Okay.
I mean, my background's a little bit different than a lot of people in the department, and I did get some programming here and there. It's just, it leaves me, like, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So I have done programming. I remember using R for a semester. I remember using, a really long time ago, Visual C++.
Okay.
And some other, I used MATLAB too. But I don't really remember much any of it. Like I'd have to sit down and relearn all of it.
I see. For my case, like, as a pure math student, in most cases what you do is theorems.
Yeah, you write down proofs of theorems.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't rely on softwares to do anything specifically. So, but for my case, I did one of these computer science courses when I was doing my bachelor's. So where we had to learn how to use JavaScript.
Yeah.
It's also another programming language. So that's why I have a little bit idea about programming. but I never really used it. I just do it during the course of that semester.
I see.
After then, I have not been using it. So it's like I came with, I would say, zero programming background when I was getting into this program. So it was when I started the program, and then because in most cases, most of the programmers will advise you if you don't have a very strong programming background, you can start with R, because that one does not require that much intense competition compared to other programs. So I started with R, so and then as time goes, and then I start using MATLAB and also Java. So
I
now
see.
I can use the three of them. Not
Were you a
very
fast
good.
learner with those languages? Because you have to sit and learn the language first,
Yeah, you
and
have to
then
sit. Yeah, because what I did was I rely on, obviously my advisor really helps,
yeah.
because what he did was he recommended a specific textbook for me where I can learn how to do programming in R.
Okay.
So not only do I have to learn it by myself, but I also have to make some presentations from the textbook. And then I would meet with him and try to explain to him what I understood from each of the chapters.
Was that something? Was he very patient with you in the beginning? Because a lot of times, if you go to, I'm not talking about any specific instructor, but I can think of cases where someone wants to work with an instructor. They're like, okay, well, we use R or MATLAB here. Do you know anything about MATLAB? And you'd be like, no. And he goes, well, then I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Was he very patient with you?
For my kids,
It sounds like he was.
He was very, very patient and helpful, because like when I also went to meet him, I was very realistic.
Yeah.
It's not like I pretended I could do this or that.
Yeah.
I had to tell him that, well, I am really, really interested in this. But to be honest, I do not have what it takes
Yeah.
to work with it now. I would need some time, and I also need someone to guide me to get to some point from where I can start to,
But that didn't he didn't tell you like, okay, it sounds like you should talk to someone else, or he's like, oh, we can do some stuff.
No, because already I took some courses with him by then.
Yeah.
So he knows, okay, this is something he can do.
Yeah.
So he said, okay, no problem. So he, right away at that instant, we had an appointment. So when I went for the appointment, then he started to tell me some of the things I need to do that will help me improve in short period of time. So
How much of this is kind of, there's a big difference between getting your undergraduate degree and getting your graduate degree, because it sounds like from my personal experience, from what you've just told me, that most of your education is, I think, self-taught. if he's giving you this book, he goes, here, learn R, and then you learn R.
Yeah.
Versus an undergrad might be like, okay, where's the class that I take that teaches me R?
Yeah, that's right. Because with his help, of course, but I learned most of the things also by myself. Of course, like that's how programming also works. People can only guide you on what needs to be done at the beginning. But once you get the basics, it is left to you to build on that.
Yeah.
So, which is what I did. And then, but I did that, of course, under his guidance. Because anytime I run into issues, there is also this site, I don't know how they call it, Stack Exchange.
Stack Exchange?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a site. So if you are working on either Python, MATLAB, or R, if you have some issues, if you put your question there, you have some experts that will help you to answer some of them for you. But sometimes,
But you have ChatGPT now.
Exactly. That was because when I was learning it then, at that time, there was no ChatGPT.
Yeah.
That comes later on.
Yeah.
Now with ChatGPT, obviously you can almost solve any issue that you run into without having to consult anyone or seek.
I can see positives and negatives coming from that.
Yeah.
Because I think I should probably investigate chat. I know I said this in Robbie's interview, but I do need to dedicate more time to understand, because I think ChatGPT might be the ticket to understanding programming and other
more
things
especially
better.
like Python is super good when it comes to Python.
It's good.
You
It
can with
understands Python.
ChatGPT, like if you have some programming background, let's say an idea,
Yeah.
You want to build on it with ChatGPT, you can easily, because it can help you to write codes and then edit code and then rewrite code, things like this.
You might just get a job as some computer programmer somewhere in industry, some with all the programming you guys do. Because I noticed that all you stat guys, you're always coding something.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
all your assignments have code.
exactly. All the assignments are coding now.
What
Most
kind of job do you expect to get when you're finished?
obviously, like my
What would be your dream job? Let's start there.
yeah,
What do you want to do most?
I would love to work in an industry as a data scientist.
Okay.
That is exactly what I want to do. That's the dream job I want to do.
What is it about data science specifically? Why that job that attracted you so much?
Because I love to do coding.
You like coding
I
even?
love
So you
coding,
just
actually.
started coding.
And as
and
a
you
data
love it.
scientist, all you have to do is to sit with a computer and do some coding.
Yeah.
And also, in most cases, these data scientist jobs, they come with good salaries.
Good salaries. And is the
Uh,
job hard? Would
I
you
would
call it
say
hard?
once you are comfortable in programming,
Yeah.
it isn't that hard.
Would you say that what we're doing now in the graduate department, or
It's
not the graduate department, like what we do on a regular basis, would
what
you say is what
did
we're doing harder?
You cannot compare that one to that job. That's a lot harder than what you would do, what you'll be doing, obviously, as a data scientist in a company actually.
If a company came to you and offered you a job right now, would you take it? Or do you not want to say?
That's a very hard question.
It's a hard question. All right. We'll leave it on the back
But-
burner.
Yeah, but yeah, that's hard. But I
Okay.
really want to have a PhD, and also as time progresses, I'm also going to sharpen my skills along.
Yeah.
So I feel if I have the degree, I will be pretty much ready at that point in time
Yeah.
compared to now. So,
Do you, you're from the Gambia.
Yes. I'm
Would you
from-
want to work in industry here or go back to your home country?
Once my program is done, obviously I would prefer to work here
In the U.S.?
in the US because of the difference in currency, and also how much the companies here are going to offer you
Yeah.
will be completely different from how much you will be offered in my country.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons I would want to work here. But
Do you ever get
Yes.
homesick?
yeah, pretty much, because I've been here almost like 3 years,
Yeah.
and I have a family back home.
So
So,
they're still back home.
They're
They're
still
not
back
here.
home, they're not around. So I
How do you talk to them every day on the phone or?
yeah, I talk to them every day, maybe 2-3 times.
Okay.
Every single day. Yeah.
Well, I'm from the state, but I'm not from the area.
Mm-hmm.
Like they live far away. Like when I say far away, I mean like a 3-hour drive.
Oh yeah.
So I don't get to see my family that much. So I
Mm.
end up calling them in the afternoon and talking to them on the phone because otherwise you get cabin fever.
Yeah,
Are
definitely.
you familiar with the term cabin fever?
No.
No, it's an expression used to describe when you spend too much time alone. You start to go nuts a little bit because you're alone all the time.
Yeah,
Because when I'm in my apartment, I'll be just like, man, this sucks. I want to go.
definitely.
I want to go back to work. To be honest, because at least there's people at work.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, what I do instead now is I'll call my brother and talk to him on the phone,
Yeah.
see what he's up to. So it's a similar thing. Do you spend hours on the phone talking to them?
Yeah, sometimes I spend even up to 3 hours.
3
talking
hours?
To my family, on FaceTime.
Yeah, I do that with my brother.
Yeah.
We'll talk about 3 hours worth.
Yeah, but since I've been here also, I would say I'm lucky to have friends around. In most cases, I have someone as a roommate always, and we love playing some video games. And then
So you play video games?
Yeah,
That's the
mostly.
one. Everyone I speak to loves video, except for Hezekiah.
Yeah, okay.
He's the only one that's not really into it.
Yeah, so
But you like video games.
I loved it.
What video games do you like?
I
I don't get that from you, to be
FIFA
honest.
24, FIFA.
FIFA?
20, yeah, that one.
That's
And
a
there's
soccer.
another one. Yeah, soccer.
Virtual soccer.
Exactly. And there's another one they call this Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, that
The
one
game
also
where
I
you
love
pull the
it.
spines
So
out of people?
yeah, so those I love those ones
I
pretty much.
can't. I don't see you liking that stuff though.
I love them.
Like I know you can't see Ebrima,
Like
but he's very clean cut dude.
my ex roommate, like we sometimes play for like 3 4 hours.
Really.
Yeah, I'm telling you, because anytime I beat him, we'll be like, no, I want to have one more game.
Rematch.
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we keep doing that until maybe sometime 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. So it's
Wow.
crazy.
So you still stay up that
But
late?
that really helps. Like if you stay without doing anything, it's like you are distracted because you are
Yeah.
always thinking constantly about your family.
Mm-hmm.
But some of those things distract you, and then you have some mental health also.
Yeah, you have to figure out how to divvy up your time
Hey,
and make sure that you do stay sane.
exactly.
So this is another good talking point I want to talk about, like because I think how much time you dedicate to research, because I was feeling that I wasn't doing enough research after I finished the qualifier.
Yeah.
So can you tell me like how many? I made a video about it too because of our discussion. But how much do you dedicate a day to classes, to research, specifically research? And when I say classes, I also mean homework or tests that you dedicate there.
Yeah.
So how much do you spend in class versus research versus everything else?
Yeah. So currently, I would say I spend at least 8 hours on research every single day.
You do 8 hours of research every day.
Single day, yeah. Because
That includes the classes you take or not?
not just my research.
So only research is 8 hours.
8 hours.
You obviously take breaks in between, right?
Yeah, because the reason why I'm also doing that, like I told you, when I was coming into the program, I came with bachelor's.
Yeah.
And the bachelor program that I did, there wasn't anything like thesis at the end of the program.
Okay.
Some bachelors do have that. So I feel like I don't have research experience. I've never written research paper before. So, and I now have to write a dissertation, which doesn't come with an easy task.
It's hard.
It's really hard.
Writing a dissertation is hard. Who knew?
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, I would have to spend so much time, try to understand what other people have done in this field,
Yeah.
and what I think I could also do in the same field. So because one important thing is candidacy, like as you know.
Yeah, you
And
have
you
to.
cannot do the candidacy without having to know what improvement you can.
How do you mean?
Like in any field you are working on, like for dissertation, you cannot just write anything.
Yeah, you have
to come up with something that can add on to
Yeah.
what is already existing in that field of study.
Yeah.
So it's like in another word, you could say you need to come up with something of your own.
Yeah.
So which does not just come by so easily.
Mm.
So you would need to dedicate so much time and then work hard towards it. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for people that are getting their dissertations right now, or not dissertations, but who are in a similar situation that you're at, or will be, like maybe in the next year? Like, what kind of little quality of life improvements can you give them? Like, do this or don't do this. You know what I'm trying to ask?
Yeah. So I would say they would. I don't know much about like.
Well, what worked for you?
What works for me is to spend more time understanding what other people have done.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel that helps you and then also gives you idea on what you can also do. But before you also read and understand what other people have done, you would obviously need to have that basic understanding in that field first. That will give you, that will pave way for you to.
Does your advisor give you papers to read? Like, here, this will help you with your research, understand this, maybe tell me about it a little bit later. Because that's what I notice a lot of grad students experience. Their instructors do a good job, or not instructors, but their advisors give them stuff to read.
Yeah, in that aspect, my advisor is really helpful.
Yeah.
Because I would say all the papers and books I've been reading so far, is the one that recommends them for me.
Mm-hmm.
And those materials are super helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I see. I think I can. Do you struggle to read other people's work in math papers? Like, because in the beginning, I would say that I would have to go through each line very slowly to make sure I understood it. But now that we're both of us are in our third years, what I can do is that I can tell a good paper from a bad paper because a good paper is like, oh yeah, obviously. Like there's this one guy. I'm gonna give him a shout out. His name's Daniel Klein.
Oh.
I've read only 2 papers from him, but each of those 2 papers he made it so easy to read.
Oh.
So, and then I read some other papers. I won't say their names, but I read them. I was like, this is complicated.
Yeah.
They could have said this way easier.
Yeah.
Once you realize in the end what they said.
Yeah. That's a very interesting question because like when I first started doing seminar in the department here.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me about the seminar first.
Yeah.
What is it?
So the seminar is for our case is like for the statistics seminar. Each student that registered for the course will have to give a number of presentations, depending on the number of credit hours you register. For instance, if someone registered for 1 credit, you will have to give 2 presentations.
Yeah.
If you give 2 credits, if you registered for 2 credits, then you have to give 4 presentations.
Oh, really?
And so on. You just multiply the credit by 2.
I see.
Yeah. So at the beginning, when I started, taking those seminars, I do not have any idea about these research issues. So, and you have to, if you don't have any research in the past, you will have to read someone else's work and then you present to that at the seminar. So I would spend hours to understand it's certain paper because it's not like you cannot just go and present anything.
Yeah.
You will at least have to demonstrate that you have that understanding and you know what you are talking about.
Right.
So I find it so difficult to understand because like you say, I would just be reading line by line and then I would come with my highlighter, then I would be highlighting,
Yeah.
I would read like several weeks before I could even start to write my presentation.
Who picks the paper that you present? Do you pick it?
So at the
have to get
initial
it
stage,
approved?
It goes this way. You could either talk to your advisor and then he will identify a paper for you, or you could identify a paper and then send it to him.
I see.
To see if it is of standard to give a seminar presentation on.
And then they can ask you questions about the thing that you just read.
Yeah, because like in this seminar, if you're presenting, no one cares whether it's your work or someone else's.
Right.
So they expect you to explain everything well.
Yeah.
On that, what is going on in the paper. So,
how often do you guys meet for stats seminar?
Every week.
Okay, so you meet every week, and it's you guys. How many people take it? Is it you 4?
Yeah, it's the 4 of us.
Okay, the 4 of you guys. Yeah. I interviewed. I guess you're the 3rd one.
Yes.
So you present every week, only once a week or twice a week?
Once
a week.
Thursday, 1 hour.
Okay, and then everyone goes up there, they present, and then there comes the questioning at the end.
So like I'll be going this week and next week.
What happens if this is a hypothetical, but let's say someone goes up there, they present the paper, and then they get a barrage of questions, and they can't answer any of them? What happens then? Do you not get credit for that paper?
No, you do, because...
Do you always get credit when you present?
Yeah, you always do when you present. Whether your presentation... Because as long as you do your best, everyone knows that, okay, you are trying your best to explain on what is going on.
Right.
You're okay. And also, if they ask you, like that happens to me in one of my presentations at the beginning. I was receiving a bunch of questions. So at some point, I had to be like, I don't know. Because I'm not the
I'll be honest, it's like, I don't know.
I don't know what else.
Yeah.
So, but they don't take any big deal out of that.
Yeah.
So, because they are just, I feel it comes with so much pressure, but they are also having the right intention. They're just trying to help us improve our presentation skills.
You don't feel like any of them are being mean toward you? Quote unquote mean?
Sometimes sort of, because...
you can't help but sometimes feel that way.
Sometimes you can't, yeah.
Because that's kind of the deal here,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. though they have right intentions.
Yeah.
The goal is to help and then improve you.
Yeah, I
That's
see.
that's the goal. But sometimes it becomes too much.
Does that ever make you feel like a phony when you can't answer their questions? Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
definitely.
really
It's really
competent enough.
embarrassing actually.
It's
It's
embarrassing.
embarrassing to me actually. That's
Yeah.
how I feel sometimes.
Because we all probably grew up thinking that we were really smart.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you get over it?
Sometimes I
Some people like when they get. I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but I was just trying to explain. If some person is wanting to achieve some goal, there's always, and if it's a pretty big goal like getting a PhD or whatever, there's always going to be like a ton of pushback, and then most people are just like, all right, forget it then.
Yeah.
I'll just go do something else.
Yeah.
So how come you haven't done that yet?
To be honest, I've gone through that stage.
Really?
When you have to really sit and say to yourself, what brings me into this program? Why do I choose this? Don't I see any other thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have those moments. But what really also helps me is like if I have situations like that, after the seminar, I usually go and then meet my advisor.
Yeah.
So he would try to explain to me, some of the things that I should have done, and then
Right.
he also motivates me. That keeps me alive, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm okay. I thought I did worse than that, but I'm good.
That's good.
Yeah. So, yeah, my advisor, to be honest, is really helpful. Yeah, it's pretty.
Did you want to work with him immediately, or were you thinking about like in the very beginning? Where you're like, okay, what kind of research do I want to do? Because different people have different wheelhouses.
Yeah.
So, but you knew immediately you wanted to do statistics.
Yeah.
It was obvious.
Yeah,
that was the one you wanted
was
to do.
quite obvious to me when I got an admission, and then I look up for the options that are available. I just made up my mind that I'll be doing statistics right away.
I see.
Yeah. So, but when I also came, the first statistics course that I did, that was mathematical statistics. That was with him. And then later on, I did some other statistics courses with other lecturers. So since we don't have that option like you guys do in pure math, in terms of selecting an advisor, we just have, I would say we have 3.
We have 4.
Oh, okay.
Well, we have the illusion that we have a lot more.
Oh,
but
okay.
when you sit down and actually look at it, we have 4.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So we just have 3, I would say. And I have taken courses with 2 of them already.
Yeah.
And the other one, I have not taken any courses with him, but I feel like he's more into theoretical statistics. And
Okay.
it isn't my intention to work in that field.
I see.
My intention is to work in something that I will have to do some applications. And obviously, my advisor, the way he teaches in class, how organized he is, and then you really know that he is loaded with stuffs.
Yeah.
So even though he's standard, he doesn't relax his standard, whatever the case may be. But
He's not flexible.
Exactly. So you have to be like, okay, you have to say to yourself, this is never going to be easy in any way.
Right.
So if I am to go in for it, so I better go for the best.
Yeah.
So that's how I made up my mind, and then But equally, I would say the other one also is so good.
Yeah.
If you work with any of them, as long as you give time, it is going to be okay at the end. Yeah.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to my mom on the phone, I think, last night, just to bring up how do you keep going, how you have to have that conversation, like, what am I doing here? And the phrase is imposter syndrome. I know I talk about it a lot. But I was talking to my mom on the phone, and I was telling her about, we were off topic, but I was using an example about how I was taking my qualifier in complex, and I spent 3 hours solving 5 problems.
Oh, wow.
And then our instructor, the person that wrote the test, he would allow us to give him our solutions, and he would like point out mistakes.
Ooh.
But he would only do it 1 time for each question.
Okay.
So you get 1 for every question. So I showed him, and he goes, "Well, I'm not gonna do the first problem because you should know that one." So I'm like, "Okay, whatever."
Mm-hmm.
So then he goes to the second problem, and he said, "Yeah, you didn't make any mistakes for number two, so good job." I was
Yeah.
like, "Yes." And then he goes to question three. And he goes, "You've made one really, really tiny mistake,
Wow.
but basically, I'll give it to you." So he told me what the mistake was. The only mistake was I dropped a negative.
Oh.
That was it. I just dropped one negative.
Yeah.
So he goes, "All right, whatever. You can just put in the negative and everything's beautiful." I'm like, "Great." And then there were the last two problems.
Mm-hmm.
The one problem, I had written up a solution, and he looked at it, and he just stared at it. He goes, and I'm like, "Why are you just staring at it?" He goes, "I don't know. You've done something here
Okay.
that doesn't sit well with me." I'm like, "Well, what is it?" He goes, "I don't know."
Oh.
So he just stared at it for like a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling my mom this. I'm like, so he stares, and he stares at it for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, can we move on? Can you just give me the credit? And he goes, "No." So eventually he goes, "All right, here's what I want you to do."
Mm-hmm.
So then he told me after a minute of looking at it, he
Yeah.
goes, this is what I expect for you to do to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't really tell me how to solve it. He just told me what he didn't like.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay, so if I don't do that, he told me it was a quick fix, by the way.
Wow.
He said, it's a quick fix, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, so, but it took you a minute to see what was wrong.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah. He goes, so, because basically he's finishing the problem in his head, and it took him a minute to do that.
Oh.
So I'm like, how long is that going to take me to do it?
Definitely. That's a good question.
So I said, okay, what if I just leave it blank? How much are you going to give me for the problem?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I'd probably give you 6 out of 10 for the problem.
Ooh.
And I'm like, that's a huge
Yeah,
chunk.
definitely,
And he goes, yeah, well, figure it out.
Yeah.
So I told him, so if it takes him a minute, I told him, like, all right, I'll see you in 2 hours. So basically, after about 3 hours of checking my work,
Ooh.
I turned the test back, and I was like, just take it away. I just don't want to look at it anymore.
Wow.
So, and my mom told me, he's like, I have no idea how you are able to do any of this.
You see?
Because my mom is not from a math background. She appreciates science, but she's not like as involved in it as like maybe my dad was. Like my dad really likes science, but my mom appreciates it, and I can tell her some things about it. But she was sympathizing with me last night. She goes, I don't know how you have the patience for it. So I was like, well, to come back to the original question is like, I really don't know what else I would be doing if I wasn't here.
Definitely.
I mean, if let's say I decide to leave the program and go get it, where am I going to get a job at?
Yeah. It's a good question, actually.
I had a friend on Facebook post, she's a kindergarten teacher.
Ooh.
So now it's like kindergarten, that I can handle. But she's a kindergarten teacher, and she posted, apparently in her school district, there's an opening for a 5th grade math teacher job.
Oh.
And I read that, and I've mentioned on a number of occasions that 5th grade math is like, that's my worst nemesis.
No.
I struggle with 5th grade math more than anything. When I'm trying to recall, when I'm doing some analysis proof, it's like, oh, there's 5th grade geometry working in the background.
Oh.
And I always struggle with it. I don't know. Do you ever have those gaps in your knowledge? Like you're doing something, you forgot something that you learned when you were 11?
Always, yeah. Always.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
It happens, yeah.
And then we make really tiny, stupid mistakes.
Definitely.
That other people are like, how did he honestly make that ridiculous mistake? It's like, sometimes that happens.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember taking calculus, and I forgot what 4 times 3 was.
Wow. You see?
I remember it was Calc 1. I was like, how did I forget 4 times 3? Like, I had to type it in.
You see?
I was like, that was really bad. I should have known that. I don't do that anymore, but I just remember that happened to me once. I forgot 4 times 3.
Yeah. It happens, actually. It happens.
Maybe for you it wasn't that bad, but at my worst, that's what's happened to me. Okay. So tell me about some of the classes that you take here that are geared towards statistics.
Yeah.
Like the special topics courses.
Oh yeah, that's for statistics is mathematical statistics. That's the special topic course that you have to do. You mean for the qualifiers?
Well, the qualifying exams, you have the sequences, right? There's numerical, statistics,
Yeah.
probability theory,
Yes.
which you and I took. I remember you were there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one, methods of applied
Methods.
math.
Yes.
Did you take all four sequences?
Yes, I took all of them.
Okay, but you took the quals in which two? Stats and...
Mathematical stat and methods.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you think that the methods one was going to be a cakewalk?
Yeah, because I could remember when we were preparing for the exams, we didn't even pay much attention to methods. Because
Okay.
we are like, this one is very easy. It's a piece of cake. So we're done
Famous
with
last
this one.
words.
Yeah, so piece of cake.
Yeah.
That's done. But eventually, we spend more time on statistics.
You guys were worried about
It turns
that
out
one.
that statistics become so much easier.
Yeah.
We all did pretty much okay on that. It just qualifies in you are not allowed to know what you score.
You're not allowed to?
No.
Why not?
Unless you have a critic, you doubt what they give you, then you can go and sit with the instructor and things
Okay.
like that.
I knew that if you asked, they would tell you. Kind of.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Well, I know they don't tell us the score.
Yeah, they don't.
But if you ask, like, hey, what was my
because
score,
the
they'll
only
probably tell
information
you.
they will send you is that you pass at masters or you pass at PhD level, or
Okay.
you do not pass at master's level.
All right.
That's the information. But like for methods, when we receive an email that we pass statistics at PhD, methods at masters,
Mm-hmm.
we pretty much doubt that.
You doubted that
Yes,
score?
I doubted it. Me and Light, obviously. I don't know if I have to mention his name, but we doubted that. So we had to go and see the lecturer. Hey,
Mhm.
we want to see our script. We want to know what's going on. How is
Yeah.
this possible?
Yeah.
So we sat with the instructor. Then he saw us everything that goes wrong.
Yeah.
But you would realize that the way they grade it is pretty much different to how they grade other exams.
So the way they graded the qual was different from
It's
how they
different,
graded the exam.
Because it's any slight mistake you make on qualifies, they make you pay for it. Yes.
Yeah.
So, then there's nothing we could do but to accept that. Okay, then we do not make it. But it's like you realize that you are short like 2 or 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
Is very annoying, but
It is annoying.
there's
Like you
nothing
got a
we could-
master's pass, but if you had
Exactly.
3 more points,
yeah,
you would have
so-
had PhD
But
pass.
I meant to understand that I think for methods we are given 6 problems, obviously like different parts of each problem, A, B, C, but you are expected to solve like 4 or 5 out of the problems without any error,
Mm-hmm.
perfectly. Then the other 2, even if you make some errors, then they can understand that.
Yeah.
But if you make errors in more than 4 of the questions,
Mhm.
then obviously they try to put it in such a way that you will have to sort
Take
of
it again.
Take it again. So I
I
think that's what
see.
happens in our case. That's what I understood from it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think there was only one person that passed the PhD methods
Yes,
the first time,
methods for the first time.
and then you guys
We had to go
had to take it
for
again the next
second time.
semester.
Yeah, but that's why we do not even think about it like, okay, let's wait until next summer or something.
Yeah.
We took it immediately the next one. That's January.
I had to debate whether or not to do that
Mm-hmm.
for the analysis qualifier because pretty much we all pooped the bed on the first attempt, and we all had to take it again to get PhD pass.
Yeah.
And some of us were wondering, like, maybe we should do it in January at the same time that you guys were, but we couldn't. I was thinking about it. It's like, I don't know. I don't really think I'll do that well.
Because like for analysis, I think you people will need to spend more time and try to figure. It's much more harder than methods.
Well, here's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
With the methods qual, did you understand like what you were going to be tested over? Like, you definitely need to review this. You definitely need to review this because this will be on the test. Did you get any of that? Like, this will be on the test. Make sure you understand.
We could predict that something like this would be on the test, but we couldn't say
for
with
certain.
100% certainty.
Okay, but there was like an outline. Like, okay, if I say this because the algebra test that we take
Mm-hmm.
is very predictable, but it's a lot of work. If you put in the work, you will pass.
Mm-hmm.
The analysis qual is very, very difficult to predict, so you have to do everything in order to pass it.
Yeah, for
That's why it
methods also, one thing is certain. If you are able to solve all the homework problems
Yeah.
and your exam problems,
Yeah,
plus the pass qualifiers,
yeah,
pretty much, if you understand what is going on with those ones,
yeah.
pretty much you are going to pass methods.
Okay.
Because even though they may not repeat exactly the same questions,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously it's the same principle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For us,
Mm-hmm.
I think even if you did that,
Mm-hmm.
you would still need to, at least in my case, I can't speak for everyone because some people only did like, I think Outovich said that he only did 30 problems
Oh.
to prepare
Really?
for
Okay.
the first for the analysis exam, whereas I had to do well over 1,000 in order
What?
to get comfortable with it.
Wow, yeah.
So and that by that point
That's a
there
lot
was
of
some
work.
there's a lot of but that was over like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the only way that I really could see how I could pass was just shotgun
So,
effect.
yeah.
Just shoot, just paint the whole wall.
Yeah.
hopefully,
Yeah.
but hopefully I don't miss anything, and
Yeah.
that'll show up on there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of the experience that we have.
Yeah, okay.
Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
kind of burns a lot of time, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, is there anything that you want to discuss next, or do you want me to just pick another
Yeah,
topic? Anything
just
specific?
pick, anything you want to talk about.
Okay. So,
Mhm.
would you do anything different if you had to go back and get a different bachelor's degree? Like, what would you do differently?
Yeah. If I had that opportunity to go back, I would have done statistics instead of
Skip pure, just go straight to
statistics.
Yeah.
But that was the plan for my case when I was doing my bachelor's. I was trying to do statistics, but unfortunately, the university I studied doesn't offer any bachelor's degree in statistics.
Okay.
So it's like I have limited options.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing I could do was pure math.
I see.
Then I took it because I was on scholarship. If I want to move to a different university, I probably would not have scholarship. I would have to pay by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, it doesn't worth it. Let me just, as far as their own math,
Mm-hmm.
at some point, if you want to switch, it probably would be hard, but it's not undoable.
How come you stuck with? How come you did pure math in the beginning instead of something? Because all you guys are you do computer programming all the time. So how come you didn't get into like computer science and engineering or anything in engineering
Yeah, because
first?
Yeah, good question. Because when I was in our university at bachelor's, you have to have a major and a minor.
Okay.
I know in some universities it's optional, but for us it's sort of mandatory. So I was planning to take a minor in computer science.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I took that course, Java and things like that. But the way the instructors teach, I feel like, okay, this is more like I go to the internet and try to learn it by myself.
Yeah.
I would know better probably
Yeah.
than wasting my time here.
Yeah.
So then I switched from computer science to physics. So my minor was in physics instead of computer science. That's down to the way the instructors were obviously teaching.
Mm-hmm.
If I was pretty convinced that they knew what they were doing, I probably would have had my minor in computer science as
Okay.
opposed to physics. Yeah.
I started in math and I wanted to minor in computer science,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I've explained this story a bunch of times, but I eventually switched over to environmental science because my family encouraged me to do that,
Okay.
and because I had so many math credits, it
Credits.
became my minor.
Oh, great.
So that's kind of where I started with bachelor's.
Mm-hmm.
My only advice, like if I had to do something different,
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I don't know if I really would do anything different because
Mm-hmm.
I kind of take for granted all the wisdom I have now that I
Yeah.
accumulated because I did that.
Yeah.
If I had just stuck with math and did some a little bit things different, I probably wouldn't be the same person I am now. So I can't really say if
Yeah.
it would have changed anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really have any problems with what I took.
So, okay.
I think
That's
environmental science is a
Science.
good degree to
Yeah.
have because
Mm-hmm.
if you want to like a government job working
Yeah.
at like a county health department or something like
yeah.
that,
Yeah, definitely.
then that's useful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, can you comment a little bit about being an international student? Because there's a lot of people that want to come to the U.S. or other countries to do research
Mm-hmm.
and do get their master's or PhD,
Yeah.
but it's kind of hard to do that, and I don't know how to answer that question. So,
Yeah.
what was your experience like? How did you come to the U.S. to get a PhD? That process.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard because I would say to start with, the most important aspect for an international student is it all comes down to funding.
Funding, yeah.
Funding is a very important part of it
Mm-hmm.
because the tuition here, compared to what we paid in our universities, I think that would also come down to the difference in currencies.
Okay.
There is a big gap. The gap is big. So, but like if you think you can pay the tuition or you have the financial stability to maintain it, then you can go for it.
Okay.
But otherwise, my advice would be you should not you should not come to the United States to study if you do not have funding and you cannot pay for yourself.
How do they get the funding?
Okay, so the funding for my case, like if you apply to a university, in most cases for the graduate program, once you have the admission, automatically you're qualified to be considered for funding.
That's a GTA.
Yeah, that is the
position.
graduate assistantship. Or
Well, that was the same situation I was in.
yes.
But
Mhm.
is it any different that you weren't from the United States applying for that? Did you have to do anything else
No.
before getting here
No,
accepted?
because the only thing you have to do is to apply to the university.
Yeah.
So once you are admitted, then you're qualified for the funding. You're
Yeah.
going to be considered for the funding.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of, I would say luck and also how strong your credentials are.
Mm.
Yeah, it all comes because if it's usually very competitive.
Mm.
You have a lot of applicants from different parts of the world,
Mm.
some with double masters,
Did
some with masters. So more especially for someone who only has a bachelor's degree and you want to compete with people who have masters and then some with double masters, it's always hard to have funding. You are always at disadvantage compared to those people.
but that was your situation.
That was my situation because
So
for me,
what made you that much of a good of a candidate where they said, okay, here's some funding?
Yeah, because like my background was good actually. I did pretty well at my bachelor's degree, and also I had a bunch of experience, teaching experience, I would say, before applying to graduate school.
Yeah.
So I think that also helped. But when I was coming here, also I do not come with full funding.
Mm-hmm.
I was appointed as a part-time faculty.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is you would be given a stipend, and the university would cover 4 credits
Mm-hmm.
for you, your tuition. Then the remaining 4 credits or whatever number of credits you will have to pay that by yourself.
I see.
Yeah. So because for someone who just complete bachelor's, it is pretty much harder for you to have a full funding compared to those who already have their masters and then double masters and
Yeah.
coming into PhD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you get any funding from the government of Gambia?
Oh no, I do not have any.
Okay.
funding.
Some people from other countries,
Yeah, I understood.
got
like,
funding
yeah,
from their- yeah.
central.
but it's different for you.
It's-
You
it's
just
different
applied
for us.
honestly.
Yeah,
I don't mean
I,
that
yeah,
that way.
privately. I just
Privately.
applied for my
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like our application process was kind of the same,
Yeah.
almost.
Almost. Yeah.
Did you have to take an English speaking test?
No, I do not because obviously Gambia, our official language is English.
Mm-hmm.
We do all our education in English from primary to university. So
And
we
the
do
graduate
not
school
have-
recognizes
graduates,
it?
They recognize
I
us,
see.
so we do not have
I
to take
think
a
I
test.
think Hezekiah had mentioned that he had to take the English test, even though he's been speaking English since he
English.
was small.
Oh, okay.
So, but he's not from Gambia.
Yeah, he's from Nigeria.
Yeah.
Nigeria is just like Gambia. We are all English-speaking countries.
Okay.
Our official language are English, but I would say they speak English more than us
Really?
because they
That seems
have
backward.
they have over 500 languages
In Nigeria?
in Nigeria. So it obviously would be difficult for people to learn all this language. So they will have to, at some point, understand one that they can communicate in.
I see.
So they speak English more often than the Gambia. Yeah.
I see. Well, how about we wrap up here? It's been about an hour. It's okay. Is there anything that you definitely want to mention before I ask the final question or two? Any comments? Questions for me?
Questions for you.
If you want. I mean, whatever you want to mention.
Okay.
He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize this was an option.
Yeah. So maybe the question I would want to ask you is, how many hours do you spend on maybe research?
Oh, how much I spend on research?
Yeah, every week or every day.
Well, I'm not as dedicated as I really should be. I mean, I made myself a schedule and I showed it on the channel about like what is my goal of what I want to do every day. The idea is I think that you should do at minimum 40-hour work weeks, but that includes all things related to being a GTA, which includes teaching, grading, doing your homework, studying for exams, research is in there too. All of that, a 40-hour work week is full time. So whatever so you write down like how much you're doing per day.
Okay.
So it's like 8-hour work day. So how much of those 8 hours are on campus doing the day-to-day stuff? And then whatever's left over, I think that is what you should generally dedicate to doing research.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. But that's minimum. I think 40-hour work week is the minimum. If you're an overachiever, I would say 60 hours a week.
Okay.
And if you're an insane person, 80.
Yeah.
But no grad student's going to do 80.
Yeah,
That's insane.
That's too much. Yeah.
Because I don't think that there was a YouTube channel I used to watch that talked about like successful people and their work ethics and how much they do, how much they work. 40-hour work week is like, that is the standard. The overachievers do 60, but only like the very top tenth of 1% will do the 80 hours a week, I think.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So I don't really recommend only if you only the people that truly love every single second of graduate school and doing the research would do that. Which is not most people.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's the scheme that I use.
That's good. It's good to know that also. Yeah.
I think in the next 2 years, because I do think they want us to finish our degrees in 2 years, and that 2 years is going to fly by really fast.
I'm telling you.
It's going to be
So that would
nuts.
mean latest we probably would have to take our candidacy sometime in January next year.
The word for me is August. Like I heard, like my guy mentioned August.
This coming
Yeah,
August.
so if I really would like to do it, if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to cry about it.
Yeah.
Because there's a sequence of topology courses next year I'm interested in taking, but I don't want to spend so much time doing homework
Definitely.
that I can't do research because people think like, oh, he only takes one test at the end of the semester, or he does 4 homework problems. But you got to realize there's more to life there's a life outside of the department that we have to take care of.
Definitely.
That takes up all of that free time. So it's not like we're just students. We're almost like employees. Almost.
Yeah, for sure.
So for the next 2 years, my plan is to try and write 2 papers because it sounds like those 2 papers can be made into a PhD with my guy,
Definitely.
which I'm happy with. I'll average 1 paper a year,
Yeah.
and then that'll be good.
That's good.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so this is the last question.
Mhm.
I want to know what your favorite number is and why is your favorite number.
I would say my favorite number is 18
Why 18?
because I got married.
You got married at 18.
18th
That's pretty young to get
November,
married.
yeah.
At least by U.S. standards.
Um,
18?
no, I mean no. The date of the month in which I got married.
Oh, the
Not
date
the
of the
year,
month.
yes.
Not okay. You
Not
weren't
the-
18 when you got married.
Yeah,
I see.
it was 18th of November.
Oh, okay. So,
So-
but not 11.
No, not
So your favorite number is not 1811 or
No.
1118, depending on how you write
no,
the date.
it's just 18. Yeah.
Okay,
so that
18.
makes it my favorite.
All right.
Number.
Do you think your wife will listen to this interview?
Yeah, for sure. She would
So
love
she'll-
to, because
she'll
she
really
always
enjoy
want-
that then.
Yeah, she always want to see me talking. Sometimes she always, want to make me talk, and she enjoys me talking
Yeah.
and things like.
Does she know?
stories and-
Does she know who I am at all? Through this, like, who's this guy that's interviewing you? Is he a journalist?
Yeah, I would tell her it's my,
My friend.
my
Okay.
friend, the same office,
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm
She
glad.
would love to listen to this, obviously.
Okay, that's
Yes,
good.
yeah.
Well,
See-
I enjoyed speaking with you.
Yeah,
Ebrima.
it's a pleasure actually.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
I'll see you guys later.
Pleasure is mine.